Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is my culmination of using the G7 Thinq as a daily driver for the last couple of weeks. We did a challenge, myself and Juan Bagnell on the channel, and I showed you guys a part 1. There's going to be a part 2 that's going to be coming out as well. And we discussed the fact of what are the things that we enjoy doing with our device, and will we be able to convince the other person of switching at the end of this challenge. This is TK. Let's check it out. Let's talk about that challenge and how has it been using this device for the last couple of weeks. Overall, I'm going to say that obviously the Snapdragon 845 and the hardware that we have here will not disappoint. This is not an issue of hardware. The device, the display, the quality of the audio, all of that stuff is going to be amazing. We have an amazing quad DAC that's built in here, as well as DTS 3D surround sound to be able to get a better experience, either having a surrounding it right and left, or even in the front, depending on the experience you want. What I really appreciate about this device is overall, just the powerhouse that it is. The 845 is one of the best chipsets that we can get. Obviously, it's the flagship of 2018, and this has it. We no longer get a G series device that's running last year's version of the chipset. LG definitely did hear that and then upgraded the hardware. Now, the UI, I did change the customization here. I like to use Nova Launcher. This is just a personal preference. The ability of remapping this button would have been nice, but we don't. But again, if you're going to be using it and using it with the assistant, you can either initiate it by pressing and holding it here or using that button. The cameras work great. I cannot speak enough. I mean, there's enough volumes here, but I'm going to show you guys this one quick picture that I took. This was at the beach here in Southern California, and it was just amazing. You could see here, this is basically like one of those images that you take and you see them in albums and so on. You're able to do pictures like this in here, and that's because of the way the camera is set up and the way the manual focus and the pro mode that we have built into this and how it works. Now, out of the box, you do need to understand that there is an AI mode. That's what the Thinq portion of this. And this AI mode is not turned on. So if you're taking a picture, you can turn on by default the regular. We have Google Lens integration. We have portrait. The AI cam is where it starts recognizing different aspects of the scene. So in this one, you notice right there, it says close up. You could start noticing basically right there, it's a cauliflower copy. It's trying to locate the different aspects and figure out what exactly it is it's looking at. And it does a good job of that. It's a little bit slow, not as fast as some of the ones that we've seen in the Huawei devices, but definitely appreciate it. The wide angle lens, of course, is something that you guys always appreciate. So here, I'm like right next to the actual adapter here. But if I actually switch over, you'll notice I can actually fit the entire adapter in the image. I no longer have to worry about it. And we no longer have that distortion sitting there. The manual mode definitely does not disappoint. We do have a histogram. We have the ability of setting up our auto balance, white balance, our basically the ISO, the shutter speed, as well as the ability of switching between the cameras. Now, Pro mode is only available in the back sensor. You are able to switch between the wide angle and the standard lens, but you can't switch between the two when you're in video. That's one thing that we don't have. And of course, zooming has basically been reduced here into the shutter button. You can basically definitely use the button here to be able to zoom in. You notice right there, there's that little transition, and then we can switch sensors. But in video, we don't have the ability of switching between the two anymore. Very nice, very good tools to help you do what you need. You can basically take a video, produce it, upload it to YouTube, edit it, get everything you need to do right on the device. Audio reproduction on this is just absolutely fantastic. I am saying that by far in 2018, no other device on the market with the headphone jack can produce audio the way the G7 Thinq can. Again, this is so far, meaning if the V30 or the V40 comes out, sorry, not the V30, but the V40 comes out, obviously that may be even better, but at this point, the V30 from last year and the G7 of this year, these are basically the best on the market. And that basically just says so much of how much LG has put into the actual headphone jack that we have here. The audio reproduction is just second to none. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to basically listen to music, enjoying music on your device, this is the device you want to get. The P20 Pro has a lot of benefits as far as audio. It does have stereo speakers where this one doesn't. So that's one of the things you kind of have to keep in mind. Now, this also has boombox effect, which is the ability of playing music straight in from the actual device. And if you have it on some kind of a hollow container, not only does it play the audio better, but it actually gets louder, a lot louder than your normal device. And the perfect example of that is, this is the device running at full volume. You'll notice right there.
Invincible.
And the only way I can explain it is the way that the construction of the device was done is that we actually have a hollow chamber inside that permeates vibrations from the device to make it sound like it's a boombox. And the more it has a flat surface, or even, as I said, if you have a space beneath it, so to put it on a reversed box, it's going to sound even better and even louder. And that's one of the things you would appreciate. Now, for me, this kind of worked in both ways. For me, it's great when I'm using it in the sense of I'm able to use it to listen to music, but if I'm watching videos in an extended amount of time, because of that vibration that we have here in the back, it kind of gets into your fingers. So if you're watching a movie, or like an action movie, there's a lot of action, a lot of bass, you will feel those movements, and which is great, but you don't have a way of turning it off. So that's a little bit of a limitation where it's great to have a feature, but there's no way of really configuring it so that it's great when it's needed and it's off when you don't. It's probably me just nitpicking, but overall I think this is a great feature to include in a device, as you will never need a Bluetooth speaker whenever you're traveling with this phone. Now, audio back, as I said, audio is pretty good. You don't have stereo speakers, which I feel like the P20 Pro does a really good job on that. We do have expandable storage. We do definitely have some nice hardware to be able to work with. Using them as a daily driver between the two, I always kept feeling like I wanted to go back to the P20 Pro when it came to photography, not when it came to audio. Now for audio playback, I do use basically the Razer DAC. That's basically an adapter that works over USB-C to be able to give me better audio out of the P20 Pro. Now, it still doesn't come close to this one, but I feel that the audio gain between the two of them is not that bad, so keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to actual just overall videography, I think where this shines a little bit more is the ability to go into those manual mode, as you guys could see here. You're able to control, you even get a histogram directly. It's really, truly the pro mode that you want. So the conclusion between the two, this was never going to be the one is better than the other. It's actually which one is the right one for you. For me and for Juan, we have different needs from what we need from our devices. Now, as far as audio production, as far as playback, yes, unfortunately, I'm not going to try to basically, sugarcoat it. The P20 Pro does need some help. Although, when it comes down to actually music playback, I feel like it's a little bit better, as we do get stereo sound, or at least the mids and highs are basically split between the two, and you do kind of get that more of a surrounding sound from the speaker, where we only have a single firing speaker, and the boombox effect is only functional when it's on a flat surface. So unless you watch your videos on a flat surface, this is not really that functional. So you're going to really be enjoying media with a single firing speaker. Photography, I feel like for photography purposes, I think the P20 Pro does perform a little bit better. Although if you go into the settings and set up in manual mode, you are able to produce some really good pictures out of the G7. I just feel like the P20 Pro for me, especially with nighttime photography, it just has that little bit of an edge that just wants me or makes me stay with that. And when it comes down to video, I'm going to have to give it kind of a little bit of a toss-up. Just from a usability, from the way I use it. Am I going to basically open up the camera and go into manual mode and set up and all of that? If I'm producing, yes. But on a day-to-day activity, when I'm walking around behind my kid, or I'm out and about and just trying to take pictures, those things really need to be kind of automatic. And I feel like the G7 is a little bit slow as far as just getting these modes on. Like even with AI, it takes a little bit extra second for it to kind of focus to figure out what the actual subject or what's the actual scene to be able to give you the right mode. For video purposes, I definitely think that the G7 Thinq is way better as far as producing video, as well as processing it and just posting it on YouTube. So do I like both devices? Yes. Am I staying with this G7? No, I'm very happy to go back to my P20 Pro. So I want to say thank you very much to Juan for allowing me to be able to have that challenge with him. And I'm hoping to be able to have some more challenges with him, because I feel like we have more opinions on other things. And I'll link to you guys this video that we did where we discussed some of the pros and cons, specifically when it came to audio, as well as the ability to basically video and photography, and just basically overall what made us, what did we think about it at the end of this experiment. So like and subscribe as usual. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.